What does it take for a mother to look at her own son, who's a Princeton grad and the Secretary of Defense, and call him a piece of shit? In 2018, Penelope Hegseth had sent on an email that would haunt her son's career for life. She wrote, "You're an abuser of women. You belittle, lie, cheat, and use people for your own power and ego." That son is now the most powerful military leader on the planet. But today, we're going to show you the man behind the medals. The man with questionable white supremacist tattoos. The man who drunkenly chanted, "Kill all Muslims" in a hotel bar. And the man who paid $50,000 to silence a sexual assault allegation. In his youth, Pete Hegseth was the ultimate all-American golden boy. Class valedictorian, star athlete, a kid so innocent he turned down an elite spot at West Point just to keep playing basketball at Princeton. But on that prestigious Ivy League campus, the gym floors were left behind. He stepped into a different kind of arena by becoming the publisher of a conservative student magazine named the Princeton Tory. Pete didn't just share opinions here, he went to war. He publicly declared his mission to defend Western civilization against the distractions of diversity. Under his direction, the paper mocked minority achievements and attacked gay marriage, laying the exact psychological blueprint for the culture warrior he would eventually become. After graduating in 2003, Pete was commissioned in the Army National Guard. By 2004, the newly minted lieutenant was shipped out for his first deployment. Destination: Guantanamo Bay. Guantanamo Bay was a legal black hole. Amnesty International called it the gulag of our times. This was a fortress of razor wire and steel cages where hundreds of suspected enemies were thrown into orange jumpsuits and held without a trial. Detainees reported brutal abuse, waterboarding, and psychological torture. This was the world where a young 24-year-old Lieutenant Hegseth was deployed to lead a platoon of guards. Years later, leaked military files revealed that over 100 of them were completely innocent civilians. Farmers, drivers, and laborers simply rounded up for bounties.
Arrested while holidaying in Afghanistan and falsely accused of being a terrorist.
It's not a prison. It's not normal. It's not where a human being should be kept in any circumstance, regardless of if he's a criminal or not.
While the world saw a human rights nightmare, Pete watched the sleep deprivation, cruelty, and torture and absorbed it. In his 2024 book, The War on Warriors, he rails against the left-wing lawyers and jagoffs, who he says ruined Gitmo by turning the battlefield into a courtroom and stopping the executions. By this point, we can see that Pete doesn't care about human rights a single bit. But then comes his deployment to Iraq, where he won a Bronze Star. In his books, he admits the war shifted his worldview into a binary. Warriors versus infidels. He even kept a newspaper clipping of a bombed mosque in his wallet as a constant reminder of his fight. By this point, he wasn't just a soldier. He was viewing himself as some sort of a crusader. Upon his return back home, the mask started to slip. While he was on Fox News preaching about family values, his private life was a total mess. He admitted to 5 separate affairs during his first marriage alone, and his drinking was even more out of control. Whistleblowers described him being carried to his hotel room, too drunk to walk, and trying to climb on stage at strip clubs during official work trips. The most chilling report was a 2 a.m. hotel bar in Ohio where a colleague watched Pete drunkenly chant "Kill all Muslims" over and over again. Then came Monterey 2017. A Republican women's convention became a hunting ground as Pete Hegseth spent the night making women uncomfortable, allegedly rubbing their thighs and prompting the event's organizer to text a friend about his aggressive creeper vibe. When she bravely confronted him for his behavior, the night blurred. After a drink at the bar, she suspected she'd been drugged. She alleged that Hegseth lured her to her room, snatched her phone, and physically blocked the door as she pleaded no over and over again. She accused him of sexual assault, and later he used a $50,000 settlement to bury the truth and protect his career. His mother's leaked words proved hauntingly prophetic. It seems Pete did use women for his own ego, and then used his checkbook to silence them. The world should have seen him coming. It's written on his skin. On his chest is the Jerusalem cross. For centuries, this was the emblem of the Crusader kings who carved the kingdom out of the Middle East by the sword. Today, it's been co-opted by far-right groups as a symbol of the fight for Western civilization. In 2021, this specific tattoo is what got him pulled from guarding Joe Biden's inauguration. A fellow guard member on an anti-terrorism team flagged Pete as a potential insider threat. They saw a man who didn't swear an oath to the Constitution, but to a holy war. On his bicep, Deus Vult, which means God wills it. This was the battle cry of the First Crusade, but it has a darker modern history. It's the same cry heard from neo-Nazis and white supremacists at the deadly Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. On his arm, kafir, Arabic for infidel, a slur designed to dehumanize an entire faith. But the tattoos were just a prelude to the chaos. In January 2025, Hegseth became the Secretary of Defense, and he immediately began dismantling decades of military ethics to wage his own holy war. He has embraced the relentless, warmongering bloodlust, prioritizing maximum violence over international law. Under his watch, there have been numerous blunders. He triggered the infamous signalgate scandal by accidentally leaking top-secret war plans to a journalist on an unsecure app. He also faced calls for investigation after allegedly authorizing a Kill the survivor's order on a disabled boat in the Caribbean. And then in 2026, when a strike in Iran tragically leveled a girls' school, killing more than 150 innocent kids, Pete didn't blink.
Well, we're still investigating, and that's where I'll leave it today. But what I will emphasize to you and to the world is that unlike our adversaries, the Iranians, we never target civilians.
The administration just called the dead children propaganda. Now, after months of dodging war crime allegations and gross incompetence, Hegseth has abandoned all pretense of independent leadership. With his back against the wall, he's playing the only card he has left: total unquestioning loyalty. Today, Pete Hegseth spends his time kissing Donald Trump's ass, desperately clinging to power by proving he is the president's most obedient soldier. Pete Hegseth isn't a mistake. He is the end result of a man who was flagged as a threat by his own soldiers, denounced by his mother, and fed on the gluttony of power. He carries the Crusades on his skin and the ghosts of Gitmo in his head. He's no longer playing toy soldiers, he's playing with your future. And as the bombs continue to fall, remember, he got exactly what he wanted. No lawyers, no rules, just a fire. The only question is, how long will Pete be allowed to wage a war no one wants to be a part of?
On Earth, we will hunt you down without apology and without hesitation, and we will kill you.